I'm just a girl, I have imposter syndrome, I don't know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, it's switching that mindset and just saying, put yourself out there, be proud of yourself for doing that. And I didn't smash it out of the park or anything, but I'm proud of being there, put myself in that position. I ended up going onto Google and literally Googling uni courses that combine, I think it was like engineering and art or something like that. And the first result was like Glasgow School of Art, product design engineering. And I was like, what's that? I've never heard of that. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there is something that's been designed and built by engineers, and it's always going to be that way. And my mindset, my moral stance is I would love to leave the world in a better way than I found it. So making a positive impact and a positive change, whether that's environmentally, socially, whatever, is what really excites me. And that's what makes me want to continue as an engineer in my career.
Welcome to the Engineer Career Podcast, Molly Akers.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, Molly. And you must be the longest, it's the longest amount of time it's taken to get a guest on so far.
Yeah.
Definitely 12 months.
We worked out this time last year, you asked me to come on.
That's it.
And I was like, absolutely not.
9 days short of it, which is amazing. It's great to have you on the podcast. We obviously met at All Energy. That was when we met the first time.
Yeah.
And we spoke about, potentially recording, but I love your career journey. There's a lot to dig into, and I'm excited for you to share it.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Good stuff. So what initially sparked your interest in engineering?
So I had to think about this question a wee bit because, I couldn't really tell you a distinct moment or anything that it kind of happened, but I think it progressed naturally just growing up. I didn't really have any direct family members like my mum or dad or anything that were in engineering careers. They were in different industries, fantastic in their own rights. But when I thought back, my grandad probably subconsciously had an impact on inspiring me into engineering. He's from London, grew up in London in the, 40s, 50s, 60s, and he worked as a precision engineer in a factory setting. So he was making like really small parts for lots of different types of industries. Some of it was medical based, some of it was like defence based industries. And that was his job. But then he had other things on the side, like making crafts, little wooden toys. He was a very hands-on person. And I remember when I visited his house, he had a shed in the back of his garden and it was like his little workshop. So whenever I visited there, when I was like really young, up to like teenage years, even when I was 17, 18, every time I went in there, I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like he can make so much stuff. He can make lamps. He can make kids' toys. He once gave me do you know what a spirograph is?
Yeah.
It's like a drawing tool. Yeah. He once gave me a handmade design of his, a spirograph, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever owned. I absolutely love it. And so I think, through that I kind of thought I want to be able to do what he does, not really realising that kind of design creative side of things was part of being an engineer in a sense as well.
That's amazing.
I became interested in how to make things and how the world around me is formed, I guess.
And as you started to go through school, did it become apparent that your kind of skills in school married up with that type of career, or in terms of like maths and your design, etc., or was it something that you started to push yourself towards, thinking I want to be like my granddad or
Not consciously. I think I enjoyed a bit of everything, a bit of an all-rounder. So going through school, I wasn't really thinking like I want to have an engineering pathway. I enjoyed maths. I enjoyed the logical side of things. I liked a process where, if you get a maths question, you answer it, it's right or wrong. Yeah. Absolutely loved that. I hated the English and the essay writing subjects, but also kept up the creative side of things. So I loved art as well. That's something I was naturally quite good at, so I kind of kept it up throughout school, and it was almost my little escapism, where I just kind of went into a focus zone and enjoyed that. And then design and technology subjects as well, like techie in school. Loved being in the workshop making stuff. First and second year when you made like little boxes or spice racks or...
The spice rack.
Yeah,
What does the spice rack?
Genuinely, like, proudest achievement of my life so far. So I kept all subjects going right up until you had to choose.
That's amazing. And why did you then go on to product design engineering? And was it always Glasgow you were looking to go to?
No, definitely not. When it came to choosing hires, advanced hires, my hires were kind of all rounders as well. But I still kept up maths, physics, history, English, art, and then I kind of got good grades in hires. So I thought, whatever I want to pursue in the next stages after school, I think I'm fine with these grades, can do whatever I want. And then when it came to advanced hires, I was a bit more loose, like a bit more flexible. And so with advanced hires, I then chose advanced hire physics, advanced hire art, and then randomly decided to do a crash hire course in graphic communications, I think it was called, which I hadn't done before. And that opened my eyes to like CAD, technical drawings, engineering tools. And yeah, so it wasn't until I was consciously thinking about uni subjects that I thought, I could probably do an engineering degree with the skills that I've got here.
Amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I've said it so many times in the podcast, graphics was like one of my favourite topics.
Yeah.
But I kind of did the opposite. I never correlated that to engineering. Mm-hmm. Even though my dad's an engineer, as I was telling you beforehand. But yeah, graphics was like my love in school almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of imagination and although imagination's within kind of certain bounds, unlike art was very much open, isn't it? Kind of, whereas graphics, I felt there was certain rules, but certain controls, whether it be your hand drawings or doing it within like Autodesk Inventor. I don't know what software you used, but so did you apply to any other universities, or was it just University of Glasgow you applied to?
So yeah, funny story about how I found my degree. I had no idea what I wanted to apply to, so I was looking at uni prospectuses, websites and everything, and I thought, I really don't want to let that creative side of my interest go, but I want to pursue the kind of technical side of things as well. So I was like, how do I bridge these together? I've got absolutely no idea. I ended up going onto Google and literally Googling uni courses that combine, I think it was like engineering and art or something like that. And the first result was like Glasgow School of Art, product design engineering. And I was like, what's that? I've never heard of that. And it turned out Glasgow Uni and Strathclyde universities were the two that did them in Glasgow. And because they were close to home, I was like, well, I'll have a look further into those. And it turned out a few people I knew from my school had gone on to do product design engineering. So I chatted to them a little bit, figured out a little bit more about the course and what it provided. And I thought, you know what, that sounds like something I'd absolutely love. So that's when I decided I'll go for that. But I applied to a whole mix of things when I actually applied to uni. So I applied to like fine art, I applied to architecture, product design engineering at both unis, and mechanical engineering at Strathclyde as well. So it was still kind of mixed.
And then you pick University of Glasgow with Glasgow School of Art then?
Yeah, I did,
You're the first guest that's did product design engineering at Glasgow and School of Art.
Oh, really?
It's mainly been people who went to University of Strathclyde. So that's really nice and really exciting. So I'd love to explore. So what was the degree like, and how did the balance between the Glasgow School of Art and the university? Talk us through that for someone that may be studying or thinking of studying.
Yeah, so I think the course is fairly new. I feel like it's been on the go for maybe, I'm probably going to get this wrong in quoting this, but like 20 years, just over 20 years, maybe 20, 30 years now. And it's a joint degree, so you have the option to do a bachelor's or an integrated master's with product design engineering, kind of like any other engineering course. And the way that it works is when you're in first year, you're doing the same kind of engineering subjects as you would at Glasgow Uni, so you're integrated with the other engineering disciplines in all your lectures. And you spend 1 day a week going to the Glasgow School of Art to do your kind of group project-based work. And as you go into second, third, fourth year, the days at the art school increase. So that kind of becomes your focus area as you're making up your portfolio on that side. but you're still doing the engineering fundamentals at Glasgow Uni. So it basically consisted of lectures at Glasgow and then running down Woodlands Road to get to Glasgow School of Art up that hill in town.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what side of the product design side, like more industrial or more product based? What was your what took your eye as such?
Yeah, we explored quite a mix, and it was really good actually, because we did so many, I'm going to say random projects. They obviously weren't random, they were thought through, but we did things that focused on medical products. We focused on, there could be a focus on sports products, more commercial things. One of our first things we did was like get a product from a supermarket and take it apart, and I remember that was like a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Just take it apart and work out how it's built and
Really?
how you would put it back together.
Oh, awesome.
That was really cool. So you could see like the microelectronics, the way things are all built. Lots of more kind of conceptual, out there type stuff. Do you know the movie Blade Runner?
Yeah.
We designed a product for the future movie.
Oh wow.
Which was like, I can't even remember what I designed with my group. It was like some kind of flying technological thing.
That's awesome.
I couldn't tell you what it was now. But yeah, that meant we had a portfolio full of like a vast amount of things. And for my final year project, I designed a desk lamp that was meant to be in tune with your circadian rhythm, kind of like a sad lamp, but for people that work in offices with no windows type idea.
That's cool. And did you do any analysis with any of your products, like finite analysis or?
Yeah, that side of things was more done at Glasgow Uni. Yeah. And the idea was that you build that up over the 4 years, and then because we chose what we wanted to do as our final year project, you then brought those skills into that to do it yourself. So for my project for my desk lamp, it was all about testing with an Arduino and LED lights, how to get those like light levels. Yep. But you could literally do anything.
That sounds
so it was
fantastic.
very open.
That sounds brilliant. And as you started to come to the end of university, and this is particularly interesting because of the area which you've covered, what part of, or where did you see your career? What did you want to go into after you graduated?
That's a good question.
And the reason I'm asking that is because I know where you are now, and also for your career. So I'm interested to see where you thought, and the reason this is really an important question, and anyone could be asked it, is that when you come to the end of university, some people are quite specific on where they want to go to, but a lot are, there's a lots of opportunity here. I don't have a clue where I want to go.
Yeah.
But if being product design, I'm interested specifically, so go for it.
I think, so I graduated in 2020, which was straight into COVID, and before I graduated, my plan was to travel and go to Australia for a year, classic, and then the world shut down and I wasn't allowed to go anywhere, which was really sad. So I didn't have a grad job or anything set up, but when that happened, it kind of forced me to apply to jobs, and I was really focused on the classic design jobs. How do I get into industrial design or being a mechanical design engineer in one of those kind of product design consultancies? So I looked at the medical design route, and nearly ended up working for a consultancy down south. Unfortunately, didn't get it, so that kind of rerouted me. I was looking at, it was a lot of different design type routes, and I don't know if that was because that was just kind of where I wanted myself to go, or because I wasn't aware of, product design engineering could go into, you could work for any industry really, and I didn't really branch out. So, to answer your question,
that's cool.
In a short way, no, I didn't know where I wanted to go next.
And how much value now do you look back on all your, because you do have quite extensive kind of part-time jobs that you did throughout your study. How much value did you put on them? Kind of any skills that you picked up? Because I think sometimes it's very easy to devalue those. When you're at university, you think, I'm at university to get my degree, to get a job. I'm going to apply for a job, and loads of other people are going to apply for it. But how much do you feel the skills that you picked up during your part-time job actually contributed to the quite nicely rounded Molly?
Yeah, I valued them quite a lot. not at the time when you're like, oh, I need to go and work a night shift and then I need to go to uni the next morning. Like, oh my God, and I want to go on a night out.
So was it night out, night shift then?
It became a lot, like, but then that's how you learn time management, right?
That's it.
So
Yeah, it is, yeah.
it all molds you. I valued them quite a lot. I think I was working for most of my student years, part-time jobs, and then when it came towards the end of uni, I was working at IKEA, and that was just a customer service retail role, and then it developed into a graphic communication design role where I was doing like graphics and working with the interior design team for the shop floor type design. And because I was in that kind of team and in that kind of atmosphere, I was still thinking about design and sustainability, and I got the opportunity to still build furniture and, you know, do nice hands-on tasks. So I wasn't lost as such. I still had that kind of focus of staying in that realm.
Yeah.
And I think if you can pursue a part-time job that's still aligned with your interests, that's a great thing to do. But also, you don't need to do a job that's aligned with that. You could be working anywhere in a part-time role in a supermarket, and you're still keeping up your skills in customer service, communicating with people, time management, whatever. These things are also valuable for a CV if you need to build it up and you don't have a, you know, direct work experience in engineering as such.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's something that's very relevant. I think it's important that developing engineers, you know, students, I think just have the ability to communicate what they've experienced and what they're learning and what they're showing in their jobs, not what the job actually is, rather than it's more what they provide to it and contribute towards the job. I've spoken multiple times about the coffee barista and all the different things a coffee barista has to consider, and they're transferable. So, you know, ideal world, everyone gets a job that's linked, or internships and work placements that's linked to a degree. But unfortunately, we're not in that position. Hopefully, it does kind of evolve over time, but it's just how you articulate that. So you mentioned COVID. COVID kind of stung you a bit when you came out of university. So what did you do talk me through between COVID and then starting at Net Zero Technology Centre? How did you keep things going? Because am I right in saying you went down south, or so you worked for Innovations?
I worked for SA Equip.
That's right, yeah.
For a little bit as well. So, yeah, I bridged that a little bit with my work at IKEA. So when I was working at IKEA, I always kind of saw that as it had an end to it. Like I was working there during uni. I didn't want to work there forever. As good as it was for building a skill set, I actually tried to get a job working in like the actual design side of IKEA over in Sweden, and I would still love to go back and do that. That'd be a cool full circle moment.
Sweden's good. Gothenburg, good Gothenburg.
Yeah, right.
It's a great place.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know. Noted. So that was kind of an aim, but wasn't getting anywhere with that. Didn't have enough experience in the design side of things, I don't think. So I was looking for other opportunities and how I could get into industry and get into a full-time role. And so I discovered my friend actually worked for this company called SA Equip, who are based in Livingston, and they are a design and in-house manufacturer of kind of bespoke equipment for dangerous environments. So that could be offshore industries, or it could be dangerous onshore environments as well. And they make bespoke equipment like lights, fans, ducting, stuff that's all kind of ATEX rated equipment. And I really wanted to still practice my skills from uni, like the kind of design, ideation, CAD work, just something a bit more in tune with what I wanted to do. And so I got a part-time role there through knowing my friend that worked there. And then, I worked those two jobs in parallel, so IKEA and SA Equip. Fortunately, I got to work the SA Equip job from home. So I was doing like 2 or 3 days on both of them.
Oh, nice one. That's good. It's good going to kind of keep things up and fresh while you are, I guess, looking for the job that you're into now. Yeah. So talk us through, how did you get your internship at Net Zero Technology Centre?
So again, I was looking for the next step, and I really wanted, when you're working kind of part-time jobs and you're like, oh, I really want a bit of structure. Like I want to work a desk job, just get the 9 to 5 routine, know that I'm solid going forward. I was just looking at opportunities, and it turned out that Net Zero Technology Centre they do internships every year. So I handed my CV in there, and I got offered an internship there, and that was summer internship, 12 weeks I think it was. Which meant I left those 2 part-time jobs behind and went for that.
Good on you for kind of maintaining your drive to get in your role, because it must have been kind of a wee bit, tough when you've graduated 2020, is that right? And then waiting to 2022. So what kept the fire going?
I think I would have gone crazy if I wasn't doing anything. And I kind of need that structure in my life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I just wanted to keep it up. I think it's good to show that you're being proactive when you eventually show your CV, or if you're eventually sat down at that job interview that you really want and they ask, what have you been doing the past, couple of years, and you've still got that to talk to. It doesn't have to be engineering related, but if you've got just something that shows you're being proactive, what you're interested in, then it's always a good thing.
So before you go on to talk about your graduate role and now your current role as a project engineer, talk me through Net Zero Technology Centre for those who maybe don't know about what you do.
Yeah, Net Zero Technology Centre are based up in Aberdeen, so that's where I am at the moment. Government funded company that's been on the go since 2016, I think it is. And we basically work with industry in the energy industries, academia, and government as well. And we try to drive the energy transition through affordable and innovative technologies. So we're all about kind of supporting startups from early stage through to trying to get them through to commercialisation, and also looking at what technologies are going to help the energy transition through the next 10, 20, 30 years as we possibly eventually move away from oil and gas industries. So we were funded initially by the Aberdeen City Region deal, so it's very much based on the North East and the North Sea potential and what opportunities are there for emissions reduction and things like that.
That's awesome. It's really exciting because you and I briefly spoke about it beforehand. I mentioned it in previous podcasts, it's when you think of either transition or you think of net zero or sustainability or the technologies associated with them, I think a lot of people automatically go to wind. And there's obviously a lot more potential out there with hydrogen, carbon capture, tidal wave, which we briefly spoke about beforehand as well. So I think it's really exciting, especially in that startup space where there's so much potential. So you, after your 12-week placement, you went and got the graduate role. So how was the graduate engineer position then within hydrogen, which is exciting?
It was really good, yeah. So it wasn't a graduate scheme as such, but I think that was actually a good way to be introduced to the company and introduced to what NZTC does, because I was so new to Aberdeen and the whole oil and gas heritage there. So my graduate role really, I got involved in quite a few projects, but they were all kind of hydrogen focused. So I had an awareness of those hydrogen startups that were being supported in the company, as well as helping facilitate and manage kind of larger scale energy consortium studies, which could be longer term projects. So it gave me such a good appreciation of what are the short term impacts that we can make and those longer term impacts. And so I wasn't on a scheme, but I was kind of dotting about different, working with different teams, different projects, and seeing where I was best fitted. And that year in the graduate role absolutely flew by because of that. I think
that's awesome.
I wasn't expecting any rotations. I was just like going for it and seeing what each day brought.
Brilliant. And was there any projects during that phase that kind of stood out, or kind of like work packages that you worked on during the kind of graduate phase?
A lot of it was hydrogen technology based, and because I didn't have a background in process or chemical engineering or energy related topics, I think just learning about those kind of like production technologies and the systems involved was like so interesting. I had no idea of the whole like hydrogen rainbow, different colours, blue hydrogen, green hydrogen, grey hydrogen that she is now, like all of it. Yeah. All of it was so new to me. learning all the acronyms that are used in oil and gas and all that. Yeah, and then the whole system setups, like, I only heard of the terms like Christmas tree and pigs and pigging, probably like, 6 months into that graduate role. And I was thinking, what the heck are these things? I thought these were like, a Christmas tree was something you put in your living room in December, and a pig was something you got on a farm. Like, these were such wildly different terms to me.
But I think that I can relate to this so much, because it's funny you saying this. I know you mentioned the episode with Doa before we started, but I was going to an event, and I can remember last year it was at Strathclyde University, and before it I was sitting having some dinner in town, and I was going to be recording with someone, and I was thinking I need to get my head into hydrogen, and I was sitting reading up on the different colours, the kind of link between it and the electrolyzers. Now, by no means am I any sort of expert on the energy mix, but at the hydrogen space I did not know a whole lot about at all. So I think, going back to your point there on having the opportunity to learn and gain your awareness and appreciation, that's brilliant. Like, that's good. You know, that's like, not every role you get that opportunity. And maybe I've got this kind of positive mindset, but like when I've started jobs, that's one of the most exciting part, is like getting whether it's a spec out, a procedure, and then just kind of immersing yourself in that area, and then trying to then build your confidence to then start contributing towards something that previously you didn't know about. So I'm presuming now, as a project engineer, you're feeling more confident than you did before you were the graduate on hydrogen.
Oh, 100%. Like, I've learned so much the past 2-3 years at the company now. It's just crazy. Yeah, I've gained a lot of confidence in knowing what I'm talking about, even though sometimes you sit there and think, you know, I've got massive imposter syndrome. Being here, I don't know what I'm talking about, but you actually do. You know more than you think you do. Just by being on a project, whether it's leading it or whether it's just supporting it, and being in a room where there's experts talking about topics. You learn more than you realise.
The best experts, in my opinion, are the ones that want to pass that knowledge on as well. Another one for me is, you mentioned imposter syndrome there, and I don't really believe that anyone's immune to imposter syndrome, but I always remember my own career, like there was once having a meeting when I was working, and I didn't feel like I knew what I was talking about, and I wrote it down on my phone, and then 6 months later I looked at it after a successful meeting, and I thought I did not have a clue then, but now I know so much. So taking these, like, it's like those kind of small steps you take towards learning, it's invaluable. And especially when you're a graduate or someone that's left school into it takes a while to pick up this stuff. You know, even with a degree behind you, you know, you still felt you had to learn. So
definitely.
So how's the role as a project engineer been then? Talk me through the role.
Yeah, it's been really good. So project engineer can mean different things in different companies, obviously. So a lot of what I do is I work in a portfolio of projects that is government funded. It's called the Net Zero Technology Transition Programme, and under that is about six projects, all that span different areas. So one of them looks at alternative fuels for gas turbines, a few of them look at the digital space, a few of them look at hydrogen and what's possible there. And the project that I've been on facilitating, managing for the past couple of years is called the Hydrogen Backbone Link. So it's very much what could be possible in the hydrogen market once it's developed, from like the mid-2030s onwards. So we're kind of taking steps now, doing studies now, and looking at the benefit to the environment, the benefit to socio-economic aspects, the business case to it, the technical impacts, and doing a lot of studies now in case, you know, that's something that could be invested in the future. Brilliant. So kind of setting it up for that.
And who triggers those types of projects? Is that from the Scottish Government into you, or then your organisation triggers it and then feeds it back into like the Scottish Government?
It's a mix of both, really. So we have teams that look at what could be those real areas of interest and real tangible changes, areas of impact in the future. And we're also driven by Scottish Government strategies as well. But yeah, that all happens by kind of talking to each other and working out where those areas are, what areas are best to look at.
Brilliant. So back to you then. Has there been a project that you've thoroughly enjoyed or experience across your career so far that stands out as proud of that?
Oh, good question. I think it's really hard to answer that one, actually. I think a mix of a lot of things. Yeah, as I've said, I didn't come from an energy background at all. I really didn't know anything about offshore energies or energy systems or anything. So I think the position that I'm in now, I'm starting to put myself out there a bit more in terms of like presentations and going to conferences and being an ambassador for the energy industry and net zero. And I think I'm just proud of myself for doing that, being able to do that now. That's like, I was on my first ever panel session at Offshore Europe a couple of weeks ago.
Amazing.
And that's like probably something that wouldn't be a big deal to another person, but to me it's quite a big win, because I didn't think I'd be able to do anything like that even this time last year. I would have just said no. But yeah, I'm surrounded by a lot of great people in work that kind of push me and encourage me to do those things, which is really good at this stage in my career. So on that panel, I was with like four other more senior experts on the panel, and I was like, I'm just a girl, I have imposter syndrome, I don't know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, it's switching that mindset and just saying, put yourself out there, be proud of yourself for doing that. And I didn't smash it out the park or anything, but I'm proud of being there, put myself in that position.
Congratulations on that. I love when people feel good at themselves. That's the first thing. But the reflection's a really powerful thing. I've kind of briefly mentioned to you already, but reflection in your career, I don't think anyone does it enough. It's very easy to get bogged down on challenging times in your career, and miss the wins. So congratulations on that, and excited for what's to come and more panels. So has there been any mentors or role models? You just mentioned there, those supporting you in your organisation. I think it's really important to cover this part, because graduates that are leaving university, and those who are leaving college into apprenticeships, or those who are leaving school into trainee roles, or wanting to come into engineering, it's important to hear that there is those support mechanisms, either both from a personal point of view, friendship, or within the actual industry in itself. So is there anyone that's supported you or been a role model to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think in my job at the moment, I'm surrounded by so many great people, and what I love about, I don't have one, role model in particular. I think it's so important to have a variety of people to look up to. There's a lot of people in my work in leadership positions, both males and females, and I think when you are inspired by specific attributes to those people, you can look up to them, and it's important to hear their backgrounds and their stories as well, because it's most likely that they've not had a linear career path to get them to that point. So it's important to hear those perspectives, and it kind of helps you put that belief in yourself as well. Like, I probably couldn't tell you what I want to do in 10 years, but I quite like that because it's so open for me, and that's what they would say as well. And I think it's also very important to get their perspectives on your strengths and areas where you can improve as well, because sometimes that's things that you don't see in yourself, but they could push you to do things that you didn't think you were capable of before. So yeah, there's a lot of people in my work at the moment who have made work fun and enjoyable, and also pushed me outside of my comfort zone.
Brilliant. I love that. That's awesome. So has there been any moments so far that's been a setback in your career that you've kind of feel, well, you've overcame, but you reflect on and think, I'm proud of how I got around that?
I'm still so early on. Like, I've been, 3 years into my career now. You can face, small challenges all the time, but I think it's just having that mindset of, this isn't permanent, this is just a temporary challenge that I need to get over, breaking it down into small chunks, small challenges, and then getting those, small wins to progress. I think probably the biggest obstacle is probably the graduating into COVID and being in that time of uncertainty and not really knowing where to go next. So for people that are maybe leaving school now, or graduating now, or finishing up college or whatever, and they don't know what to do, that's not graduating into a pandemic, but they might be in a similar position where they're very uncertain about the future. And I think just kind of follow your strengths, follow your passions, and you'll end up in the right role that's for you, and just be authentic in that. And yeah, I think that's just the mindset that I would take into challenging times.
Yeah, no, thanks for that advice. That's really powerful, and I know it will help lots of people, whether that's graduates who are still looking for jobs who left university in May this year, or whether that's those who are maybe looking to make their move in their career into, like you said, somewhere, the place that they ultimately want to, or they see their career in for now, because we never know how things can change. So what advice would you give to someone that's considering a career in engineering?
I would say just go for it.
Yeah.
There's so many pathways you can take. So I think engineering is so broad as well. So you don't need to be a specialist in something. I think when I graduated, I was under the impression that I had to go for product design engineering roles. But because engineering is so broad, you can really go into any industry that you want to. I've adapted to the energy industry, and that's not something I saw myself doing or being in. And it has so many different roles to it as well. So you could be a hands-on, crafty precision engineer if you want to, an aircraft mechanic, a car mechanic. That's still part of being an engineer. Or you could be the more strategic study, business case type engineer. Yeah, there's so many different faces to engineering. So don't let what you think engineering is put you off.
Yeah.
Look into it. There's so many different paths.
I agree. I think if there's one thing that I can reflect on since starting an engineering career that I may have not thought of before starting the podcast, is that, and it's by evidence based, is engineering by its true nature is adaptability. And when I hear phrases like, where are we going to get the skills from to work in, like, for example, you hear green skills or the workforce of the future. The actual the meaning of engineering to me is like that adaptable nature. So those who are in one sector can adapt into others, and those who chose to do product design engineering, probably if you looked at the prospectus or looked at the route, would not have ended up where you are just now.
Yeah. But
you are evidence that you can be adaptable into what is the part of sustainability, net zero, the energy transition, and I think everybody, whether you're a hiring manager, whether you are starting your career, whether you're making big decisions, should look at that as there's the opportunity. We've got hundreds of thousands. Well, we've got hundreds, we have thousands of students across the UK who are studying engineering, who are all capable of making that adaptive. It's just telling stories like yours that make people believe they can do it. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you wanting to come on and share, and me jumping on that and using it as an example. So you gave that advice then, and in your opinion, doesn't have to be in where you are at the moment, but what are some of the most exciting parts of engineering, areas that are developing at the moment that make you excited?
I think I have to start with the energy industry, because there's so much that I see from my work and all the exciting startups and innovative technologies that come in that could be real game changers going forward, and they just need that investment and that drive to pursue them, to make a real change. So yeah, we focus on so many different areas. So there's hydrogen, there's CCUS, there's digital opportunities, which are massive, AI opportunities at the moment, and I think wind and renewables, so many different things. And I think in work we have a big systems approach on that, so it's not just one thing that stands out, it's how it's all going to work together in harmony in the future, which is, I can't solve that problem, but very clever people will be able to solve that problem. So I don't have one answer for you for the energy side of things, but I think digital and AI capabilities are going to grow so quickly, that'll be very fascinating to keep an eye on. I'm so interested in like the circular economy, materials side of things, new materials, or just like reuse, remanufacturing, which can go across all industries really. Fabric, textiles, materials in energy, wind blade turbines, so much you can do. Yeah,
exciting.
I don't have one answer.
No,
There's a lot to be excited about.
that's a lot exciting, and topics that haven't been covered in the podcast before, so that is really exciting. I feel your product design side coming out of you there when you're going into textiles and materials and the reuse as well, which is actually the opportunity, even from an engineering point of view, is really exciting about the circular economy, and maybe something that not hasn't been explored but isn't spoken about a lot. Maybe will be spoken about in universities, but maybe not as trendy to speak about in the kind of maybe either mainstream media or when you weigh it up against other kind of sector discussions that you hear. But certainly there's so much potential. Certainly how it fits into that sustainability mix as well.
Yeah. I got a real interest in that from a university project actually, which was all about the circular economy and taking a waste material and redeveloping it and reusing it to make another product. And I absolutely loved that because it just opened my eyes to what the circular economy meant and that system. And it's so important. And I think it's a massive part of net zero going forward, because you want to reuse before you recycle or anything, before waste.
Absolutely. No, well, the old diagram from school, I'm sure you can remember it. It's almost like not spoken about as much now. It's like I can remember from primary school. It's like the what was it? Oh God, what's the 3 R's?
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. No one talks about that anymore.
Yeah. But like even in systems, that's so important.
Yeah.
Like your heat, your efficiencies, it's all relevant.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I don't know how conscious you are now of energy use. Are you quite conscious of it? Like, say I'm in a room now and the lights are on, I'm always like, do the lights really need to be on? I'm saying that with a really bright light above my head right now. But it's something that, like, I think 5 years ago I would not have thought of.
Yeah. Definitely on a more personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think about it more.
There's so much around it. I'm not gonna start kind of greenwashing people or trying to convince people, but it's just these subtle elements that are, I think, have their own levels of importance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can all play a role.
That's it. So looking ahead then, and I know you've mentioned about looking ahead, not knowing what's coming up in the future, but any professional goals or aspirations certainly for the future?
So if I don't mention this, my unofficial mentor will probably kill me, but he is really keen on me going for chartership, so that's a professional goal in a sense. If it takes me months or years to build up, I don't care. I would love to have that as part of my brand, my identity going forward. Nice IKEA symbol on there.
That was my next question. It was going to be, would it be with the IKEA?
Yeah, it would be, yeah. So that'd be really cool to have. I think looking ahead, I can see myself doing something that brings in that creative aspect into my job again, and having maybe a more practical hands-on role. So I would love to get on-site, on-field experience in renewables now that I've got that appreciation of the energy industry. So the wind sector is so big at the moment. I would love to have, if it's eventually a operational or commissioning, who knows if it's going to be managerial or building a facility, something like that I'd love to do. Because I think having these past 3 years of kind of desk study, research and thought leadership type position, it's really good to get the appreciation of what's going on in the markets. But I think actually going out there and making a real life impact is something that I would love to do. That would give me satisfaction.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm excited to see you achieve it in the future. And I'm sure I know there's loads of projects coming up over the ones that we can see and ones that we know will likely happen. So I'm sure you'll get opportunities to do that. Came to the end. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You've been an amazing guest. I love your story. I love the kind of route you've taken, maybe not fallen into, but you know how it's just made its way along. You've mentioned it yourself, kind of the non-linear approach. It's been really exciting to hear about it, and I'm excited for students to hear it as well. Really, really importantly, especially within the sustainability space, because you've shown that there's a route into it, even from maybe the courses that you wouldn't automatically think would be linked to it. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Just one last question that I always do when I end them is, what keeps you passionate about engineering?
I think everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there is something that has been designed and built by engineers, and it's always going to be that way. And my mindset, my moral stance is I would love to leave the world in a better way than I found it. So making a positive impact and a positive change, whether that's environmentally, socially, whatever, is what really excites me. And that's what makes me want to continue as an engineer in my career.
Well, thank you so much for sharing it. I know that the listeners are going to love it. So Molly, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Josh.